When the bride arrived at her wedding, she carried a secret that would leave everyone in awe. As she made her way down the aisle, the groom locked eyes with her, and in that moment, he was overcome with emotion. Tears streamed down his face as he struggled to believe what he was witnessing. Chelsea Hill's wedding day had finally arrived, and it was everything she had ever dreamed of. She had found an incredible man, one she could truly envision spending the rest of her life with. The lead up to the big day had been intense, as she worked tirelessly to make every detail perfect. But while she shared the same excitement as any other bride, Chelsea was anything but ordinary. Chelsea Hill was a stunning young woman, but there was something that set her apart. She was paralyzed from the waist down. However, that had never stopped her from living life to the fullest, determined to be as independent and capable as possible. On her wedding day, she radiated beauty in a breathtaking white gown adorned with delicate lace. But beneath her elegant cap sleeves, she carried a secret. It was a picture-perfect Californian day, the air still and serene. As her father gently wheeled her toward the ceremony, she took in the sight of her guests, all with their backs turned, unaware of what was about to unfold. When they reached the end of the aisle, she locked eyes with her father, her gaze filled with hope. He knew exactly what to do. With a deep breath, she gave a subtle nod to the waiting deacon, their carefully planned moment about to be revealed. As the deacon stepped forward, he addressed the wedding party for the first time, setting the stage for something truly unforgettable. As the deacon spoke to the guests, Chelsea's eyes remained fixed on her soon-to-be husband, standing at the altar with his back to her. Her heart pounded with adrenaline, anticipation building as she waited for him to turn around. Then, just as planned, the deacon invited the wedding party to turn, and the music cued for her entrance. But what they witnessed was nothing short of extraordinary. Instead of being wheeled down the aisle, Chelsea was walking. The sight left everyone in stunned silence, jaws dropping in sheer disbelief. She had kept this secret hidden, and now, in this unforgettable moment, she revealed it to the world. Everyone was in absolute shock at what they were seeing her fiancé. He was bawling his eyes out painstakingly. Chelsea was guided by her father as she dragged one foot in front of the other with the help of a beautifully decorated walking frame. How was she doing it? She was meant to be completely immobilized from the waist down when she walked to the altar. Her fiancé looked at her in absolute awe, but also with so many questions clearly puzzling his mind. Beautiful Chelsea simply smiled gracefully at him and continued with the ceremony after the pair had said their I do's. It was now her husband's job to get her down the aisle, taking one small step after another, each more filled with love than the previous one. As the wedding party moved on to the reception, the newlyweds took a quiet moment on a nearby bench. With a smile, Chelsea finally revealed the secret she had kept for 6 months. She had been secretly undergoing physiotherapy and mobility training to walk down the aisle. It had taken weeks of grueling practice, struggling to coordinate unresponsive limbs, unable to feel the floor beneath her. She had even rehearsed on the very rug she'd walk on at the wedding, praying for dry weather to avoid slipping. Night after night, she had feared falling in front of everyone. Her husband, both amazed and teary-eyed, couldn't believe she had pulled this off. But how? Lifting her dress, Chelsea revealed her secret weapons, 2 long white leg braces, stabilizing her legs enough to create the illusion of walking. Stunned, he applauded her determination and ingenuity. Though he assured her she didn't have to go through all that just for him, she simply laughed and shrugged it off. She had done it for herself. She told him that it wasn't for him, but rather for herself, so that she might be able to fulfill her childhood dreams walking down the aisle towards the man of her life. Thanks to all her practice and her very supportive family, she had been able to do just that, and that truly embodied Chelsea's spirit. She had always refused to be robbed further by the accident that had altered her life so severely just 11 years prior. At just 17 years old, Chelsea had found herself facing the harsh reality. Chelsea had always been the life of the party, so when her friends insisted she join them for a house party across town, she happily agreed. Though underage, they drank a little too much and made the reckless decision to drive home. Feeling invincible, they piled into the car, reminding each other to buckle up before setting off. As they neared their suburb, the driver relaxed, relieved they had almost made it home safely. But just as they let their guard down, disaster struck. With music blaring, the driver lost control and crashed into a tree. Everything went black. When Chelsea woke, she was blinded by bright hospital lights, surrounded by beeping machines and excruciating pain in her waist. She drifted in and out of consciousness, finally waking again in her hospital room, where her worried family rushed to her bedside. They shared their fears and apprehensions and expressed their gratitude for the fact that she was still with them, but while they were speaking, she realized she couldn't feel anything from her waist down. This was unusual for her. She was a fit high school dancer who was very in tune with her body. What could have possibly happened? That's when the doctors came in and explained everything to her. Because of the impact of the vehicle into the tree, she had been projected towards just like everyone else in the car. Only she was the exception in one way. She had been sitting in the middle of the back seat when the car made the impact. Unlike everyone else in the car, she didn't have a 3-point seat belt, only the lap one. It was for this very reason that she could no longer feel anything. In fact, the doctors reckoned that the seat belt had almost cut her body in half. She was lucky to be alive. Chelsea was in shock as she processed the devastating news. She would never walk again and might endure chronic pain for life. How had a fun, innocent night turned into such a nightmare? In an instant, her dreams, including joining the university dance team, were shattered. At just 17, her world had been ripped away. Though grateful to be alive, she struggled with the harsh reality. What made it worse was that everyone else in the car walked away unscathed. She alone suffered because she had sat in the middle seat. People told her she was lucky. Had she not buckled up, she might have been thrown through the windshield, but that brought little comfort. What truly puzzled her parents was the revelation that the very seat belt meant to protect her had caused the severe spinal injury that left her paralyzed. Determined to seek justice, Chelsea and her family gathered evidence, did their research, and ultimately took Toyota to court, claiming the seatbelt's design was responsible for her condition. Regardless of what had caused the car accident, the seatbelt, which was meant to keep her from harm, had instead inflicted harm in a severe way. She couldn't help but imagine what it could have been like if a young child had been sitting there. There was clearly something wrong with the design or positioning of the seatbelt. People from all walks of life shared their opinion over taking such a big car company to court. They all told her it would be an exercise in futility if she tried to take them on, but she was determined, even if she didn't get anything out of it. She wanted to make sure that no one else had to deal with what she had experienced. The irony of it all was not lost on her. Of course, sure enough, after months of battle against them in 2014, Chelsea won her case and was awarded a whopping $12 million in a settlement for the damages caused. While no amount of money would ever bring her legs back to life, she was grateful that she had been able to make a fuss about. Once Chelsea fully processed what had happened to her and completed some physiotherapy, she began adjusting to her new way of life. Being wheelchair-bound was challenging, but she reminded herself that it was far better than the alternative. She was alive, and that was what mattered most. Determined not to let her circumstances define her, she gradually embraced new possibilities, knowing that life on wheels didn't mean life without purpose. With that mindset, she founded the Rollettes, a wheelchair dance group, and took it on tour. Through their performances, she showed the world that mobility limitations didn't equate to limitations in life, proving that those on wheels could still achieve incredible things. Chelsea had always believed that challenges didn't mean limitations, they just required a different approach. With this mindset, she pursued her dream of mobility on her wedding day. She had two wishes: to walk down the aisle and to stand at eye level with her husband during their first dance. The latter led to the second breathtaking surprise of the day. When it was time for their dance, Chelsea once again rose to her feet, joining her husband upright on the dance floor. Overwhelmed with joy, she beamed with pride, while her husband looked at her in absolute awe. As they swayed together, their future stretched before them, full of promise and love. Guests marveled at her incredible strength and determination, but for Chelsea, this moment was deeply personal. She had done it not for the applause, but for the 17-year-old girl she once was, the one who had dreamed of this day. Her inspiring act of resilience and courage quickly went viral, touching hearts around the world. Most people in her position would have basked in the spotlight, but not Chelsea. Instead, she took a moment to remind everyone that there was absolutely nothing wrong with using a wheelchair. Walking down the aisle had been a personal dream, one she felt she owed herself the chance to achieve, and now she was simply grateful it had all come together so perfectly. Her husband often teased her about how well she had kept such a big secret from him, joking that he should be worried about what else she might be hiding. But Chelsea only laughed, assuring him that their future would be filled with nothing but the best surprises. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.